In a video I made recently, I talked about studios that Sony should consider acquiring to bring into their first-party lineup, and I mentioned Studio MDHR, the creators of Cuphead, and I talked about that they should pick them because Cuphead is a franchise that I feel like has the potential to be the next Mario. And news has came out recently in the last couple days more and more kind of solidified my feeling and kind of affirming that it's coming true more and more. And that's because Cuphead has hit some milestones within the last couple days. One of them hitting a milestone where they've sold over 4 million copies of its game. With the initial sales of the game, it kind of sold about 1 million more copies in the last 10 months, which includes the Switch sales that they just released it for the Switch recently, and that also has brought in sales for that franchise. But to have that really shows the appeal of what this game really has. And you know, getting 4 million copies sold of an indie platformer is a really good number to hit. I mean, studios want to hit at least 4 million for sure just in their regular AAA games. Obviously, they want to hit more in the 10 to 12 millions if they can, but to hit 4 million is a great number to hit for something like an indie publisher like Studio MDHR. And having it in the Switch really helped that. And I think it shows the appeal that this game is not only just a game by itself, but it truly is a franchise. And I think what even more solidified what I was feeling like overall is there is news that came out just yesterday that Cuphead now is in works with Netflix to create a Cuphead animated show. It takes place in the Inkwell Isles, which is where the game takes place, the world that it takes place. And they said that they're keeping the 1930s animation style for that show. And Netflix has been a really big partner, and they have worked with some amazing properties, especially in the video game industry recently. They have The Witcher coming out soon with Henry Cavill, which is a big name in Hollywood. And then also they had the Castlevania series where they transformed that into an animated series, which has 2 seasons currently, and it has been getting really good reviews in regards to how much most people love this show and really enjoy it and keep watching it. And I don't know if they've announced a season 3 for Castlevania, but it just shows that they help those franchises a lot, and they really care about the quality of the product that they're making. And so I think that really helps to really make Cuphead be successful, because I think it will in multiple assets. I think it will be successful, and I think it's a great move for them. And this is why I keep comparing it to being the next Mario, because I think it has that. It's got the property itself is great for adults and children, just like Mario is. And it appeals so well with children and adults not because Mario appeals in a different way than what Cuphead does, but it still has that appeal. So what the appeal is its 1930s animation style. That this animation style appeals to adults because that's what they grew up with as kids, or they saw their parents watch this when they were kids. And their parents shared this type of stuff with them. So, you know, this is stuff that they've watched and grew up with. So it's a style that they enjoy, and it brings that nostalgia appeal to them. Now, also, they have great simple characters that are relatable and fun and goofy, that just a simple thing like a Cuphead and a Mugman and a salt shaker. And there's just so much that they can appeal with children, that children will want to watch this too. And that's not just the one thing that, like, this thing can take the property so much further than this, beyond a Netflix show. Like, that's just the first step of really bringing it into the mainstream. You know, kids are going to watch this on Netflix. Kids watch Netflix constantly. That is one of the biggest things. They have a Netflix kids section, and I wonder if it makes that kids section, those views for that show is going to go way up and through the roof, because you also have the adults watching it and you have the kids watching it. And so it's the first step of really taking it into the mainstream. And there's just so much more you can do with it. You could sell Cuphead graphic t-shirts, because of the art style. It's so appealing to put on a t-shirt that I think people would buy that constantly. And just constant clothing that you could buy, hats, any kind of memorabilia. You could literally do a Cuphead cup. That's how unique this property is, and that you can make it. And you can license this out to people. So you can license out the brand name to make different things with it. So I could see them putting Cuphead on a cereal box. That's how much this thing has such appeal. And just the licensing deals are endless for this franchise. So it appeals more than just in the gaming area. This thing could be a marketing juggernaut beyond belief, that it could touch a lot of different aspects of a lot of different areas, mediums in the entertainment world. It really can. And the property itself, it can be different kinds of genres. The games itself, when I'm talking about the games, I could see this make a proper 3D platformer for this. And in regards to the running gun, I think they can make a 3D running gun for this. I think they could make a classic platformer, not the running gun style, but just a classic platformer. I think they could do that with this property. And you could even go far-fetched, and it still would possibly work in regards to it could work so well, and I'll talk about the full reason how you could adapt these properties, but you could go as far as an RPG and just a simple turn-based one. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. And this is why. The reason why you can do this with this property and it works so well is because there's a simple premise, there's an interesting and simple world, and the characters are also simple. Simplicity is at its importance, which allows you to do so much creativity, because the more complex the thing is, the harder it is to adapt to other mediums. But this is just like in Mario, it's a simple concept. Peach gets captured by Bowser. Mario saves Peach. Then he has some supporting cast characters along the way that eventually get their own games because they're beloved characters eventually when you play as them throughout the time. And they've adapted Mario to so many different areas and so many different fields. And it's just because it's a simple premise and you just know the character. The character is Mario. He's the hero. He goes and saves people. So you get that simple premise, and Cuphead has that simple premise to go with it. You have the devil in the casino. The devil is going to take your soul. What do you need to do? You need to be able to save yourself with Cuphead and Mugman. And you have people that you meet along the way that are adventurers. And the only difference they really have is they don't have simple enemies. Their enemies are their bosses, and the bosses are very complex, which is totally fine. They could make characters out of those bosses and make them memorable in those aspects. So you could even do backstories on those characters. Like, there's so much you can do with this property. It's literally, because it's so simple, that's why this property works so well. And that's why I think this property is going to be the next Mario. Potentially, I think it will. If it's successful with the Netflix, I think it will be the next Mario in regards to a big franchise, and someone's got to scoop that franchise up. Like, if they want to make the money that they want to make, you got to scoop that franchise up if you can. And I can see, the Netflix deal is a help in the right direction. It's literally the first step to something so much more. And, I talked about all the things that they can do that's outside the gaming, but it's not over in the gaming world. Like, it still has it's still appealing because the Netflix show, if it comes out, who knows when this thing is going to come out necessarily? They just announced it. Who knows how long they've been in the works of making this show, and who knows when it will be released. But if it gets released around the time the DLC comes out, which is in 2020, this is a way to boost the game sales for the game. So, even if they make the money on the other ends of the spectrum in regards to the mediums for Cuphead, it still can come back to the games. It's literally just the licensing and the memorabilia and all that is just marketing to get you to buy more of the game. And I think that is just what it will work so well for. And I think Studio MDHR truly has found itself a franchise. Even if it's not the next Mario, which I still think it is, they have found themselves a really solid franchise. And this is the time to take advantage of it so that it can be something that can last for a long time. And this Netflix show really has pushed to show that this thing can do it, and it's doing it right now. So I ask, what do you think about Cuphead? Is this going to be a potential icon similar or as great as Mario? Obviously, give it time. But do you think that has the potential to be the next Mario? Let me know in the comments below. Check out my other videos and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much. My name is Mitch and I'm signing off saying, see you soon.